Ladies and gentlemen, what just happened will leave you absolutely speechless, possibly. And I'm going to show you not only how the Democrats just lost their only hope, but also why the Democrats' brightest star just up and left, walked away from the party of division, pain, woke ideology, anti-America agenda, and has solidified the future of America for at least the next 8 years or more. John Fetterman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, watch as the de facto leader of the left drops his mic, walks off the stage in shame after CNN town hall outbursts leave the rest of the squad in complete and total disarray without a clear path on where to go from here. Now, I don't know who thought this would be a good idea, but I don't think this is salvageable, but I'll let you all be the judge. I've done extensive research and worked hard to collect, compile, verify, fact check, and curate what just happened to present to you all. And what happened was nothing short of epic, monumental, and they all get cooked. Ladies and gentlemen, stock up now, get your popcorn ready, prep, and fill up those pantries because this is only going to get better as time goes on. And we begin to see these wolves in sheep's clothing tear each other apart and completely dismantle the Democrat Party, the party of hate and violence, by doing just one simple thing: letting them speak. Let AOC talk. Give her a mic. Put her on camera.
I don't think it escaped your attention. Certainly didn't escape ours, in that 3 weeks prior to all of this that she made sort of an announcement on background, by the way. Somebody else was speaking for her. She couldn't do this herself, but that she's actively exploring either a run for the presidency or a primary challenge to Chuck Schumer. She hasn't decided yet. I imagine that the minority leader had some attention paid to that kind of thing.
Well, look, this is America, guys. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. How can I put this? I think that the Congresswoman is single-handedly trying to put an end to dumb blonde jokes. And our attitude is, you've heard me say it before, our secret plan is Operation Let Her Speak. Yeah. and Chuck, just he sees what we see.
Yeah.
But he can't seem to figure out how to defeat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, and look, don't misunderstand me. I like Chuck. He's a friend, but he could start if he'd stop all the spastic arm movements. He goes, I believe strongly in this. And you go, Chuck, just loosen up, man.
Yeah. And so you see, all we do here is cut through the noise and get to the truth. Today, we're diving into the hypocrisy of the left and the Democrats, a party that loves to talk a good game but ends up tripping over their own contradictions. They're out here preaching one thing, projecting this shiny image of compassion and progress, but when you look at their actions, it's like they're all just lining up to shoot themselves in the foot right before opening their mouths and inserting it. Let's break it down. And if you enjoy videos like these, click subscribe or join the channel because it really helps out a lot. And I really do appreciate you. All right, so the Democrats love to pretend, talk out of both sides of their mouths, and attempt to brand themselves as the champions of the little guy, defenders of fairness, equality, and justice. And this isn't such a bad idea, considering the left and Democrats have taken on this whole new mantra of being the socialist party. But we'll get to that a little bit later on in this video. But you've all seen it, haven't you? They'll stand at podiums, clutch their pearls, and lecture us about protecting the vulnerable, fighting for workers, and saving the planet. I mean, it all sounds great, right? And sometimes, just for fun, They even make it into a little jingle and try to rhyme or bust out a fat freestyle rap.
House Republicans shut the government down. Then they ran out of town. And for the last 3 weeks, they're nowhere to be found.
But I mean, come on. Who doesn't want a world where everyone's taken care of, right? But here's the kicker. Their actions tell an entirely different story. Speaking of taking care of people, let's talk about you, especially if you're on Medicare. The Medicare annual enrollment period is here from now until December 7th, and it's your chance to get the right 2026 plan for your needs. With premiums rising and many Medicare Advantage plans disappearing, sticking with your current plan without reviewing could mean higher costs or losing coverage altogether. That's why I've partnered with Chapter, my trusted Medicare advisors. They review every plan nationwide, not just a handful, and recommend what fits your specific situation. On average, they save seniors $1,100 a year, and their advice is completely free. In under 20 minutes, they'll confirm if you're on the right plan or help you switch to one that could save you thousands. Granted, not everyone will save thousands, some less, some even more. Don't let robocalls and junk mail overwhelm you. Call Chapter today at 270-467-2426 to review your 2026 options and get peace of mind. Again, that number for you to call is 270-467-2426. Do it now and enjoy the fall without Medicare stress hanging over your head. And yeah, who doesn't want a world where everyone's taken care of, right? But here's the kicker. The Democrats, their actions tell an entirely different story. It's like they're reading from a script they don't even believe in. Take their stance on free speech, right? I mean, sure, they'll tell you they're all about open dialogue and diverse voices until those voices disagree with them. Then it's cancel culture, deplatforming, or straight up censorship. Look at how they've pressured tech companies to silence dissent or labeled inconvenient opinions as misinformation. Champions of free expression? Hardly. More like gatekeepers of the narrative. Or how about their pro-worker rhetoric, right? They'll scream about raising wages and sticking it to greedy corporations, those rich billionaire oligarchs. But when push comes to shove, their policies often crush the very people they claim to protect. Look at the gig economy. Millions of Americans rely on flexible jobs like Uber or freelance work to make ends meet. Yet Democrats push regulations that kill those jobs in the name of worker protections. California's AB 5, anyone? Yeah, it was supposed to help gig workers, but ended up costing thousands their livelihoods. Nice one, guys. And don't get me started on their moral posturing. Oh, and side note, J.B. Pritzker is supposedly one of them, a Democrat or at least a Trump hater, but somehow his wealth and net worth always gets overlooked in the conversation. And have you ever wondered to yourself, how do these politicians get so stinking rich anyway? Well, have a look at this.
Obviously, and I've explained this, or at least we did in a statement, that I went on vacation with my wife, with some friends. I was incredibly lucky. You have to be to end up ahead, frankly, going to a casino anywhere. It was in Las Vegas, and I like to play cards, and so that I founded a charitable poker match here in Chicago called the Chicago Poker Challenge that has raised millions of dollars for the Holocaust Museum here. And particularly to stand up for civil rights. That's much of what the Holocaust Museum does. And so anyway, that's all I can say about it. I mean, I had fun doing it. I encourage people to come to the state of Illinois and gamble in our casinos here. We have some really lovely places to go.
Huh. Is that right? So while citizens of Chicago and Illinois are gambling every day with their lives on unsafe streets, JB and his wife are gambling their way into multi-million-dollar winnings in a charity casino card game. Right. The billionaire Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker, won $1.4 million playing blackjack in Las Vegas last year, according to a disclosure from his office. Unconfirmed reports that this was a payoff by cartel-backed operatives to help fight ICE and Trump. But as he tells it, I went on vacation with my wife, with some friends. I was incredibly lucky. Well, there's no doubt about that. J.B. Pritzker has been incredibly lucky. He hasn't suffered a coronary by now, and every day he's upright seems like it's just going to be another gamble. Nevertheless, they'll lecture you about climate change while flying private jets to their conferences before being swept away into their high roller suites. They'll cry about systemic inequality while cozying up to Wall Street, BlackRock, and foreign donors. Oh, and yeah, the cartel. They'll demand unity and civility while demonizing anyone who dares think differently. But this next clip is a real hoot, folks. Watch as AOC sits proudly on stage and presents herself as the new leader of the Democrat Party and tries to condemn Republicans by saying, well, saying this in response to the questions asked by the audience of more than likely paid bust-in guests and CNN's Caitlin Collins.
But to her question about how you're reaching out to people, the two of you did a video recently that got millions of views explaining the government shutdown, talking about why you think this fight is worth it. Democratic leaders did one, a live stream that only got a couple tens of thousands of views, much less than both of y'all's. Do Democratic leaders need to up their game and how they're reaching people?
This is the master of social media. I'll let her answer that.
Well, I think to Bernie's point, and it is clear to communicate that as an individual. Now, to the question earlier as well, when they talk about Republicans and their success online, they have been successful because they have also been very clear, especially digitally, about what they believe. That women are inferior, they do not deserve equal rights. That they believe that LGBTQ Americans are subhuman, that they believe and are circulating disgusting racial and white supremacist messaging that they are able to get away with digitally and online. And they are able to radicalize and target and exploit a generation of young boys in particular away from healthy masculinity and into an insecure masculinity that requires the domination of others who are poorer, browner, darker, or a different gender than them. And that is why they are resonating online, because they are appealing to the most basest and worst parts of human nature to divide us. And why to divide us? So that the same people who own those platforms, people like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg, that these people can continue to get away with highway robbery in tax cuts and in order to fleece all of our pockets, cut our health care, keep our wages low so that we remain fighting amongst ourselves while they make themselves richer. And so in order for us to fight back against that, we must be clear about what we believe, have strong beliefs, and also be completely unwilling to bow to that kind of division and stand in solidarity with one another, especially when it is someone whose culture is different from ours or whose background we may not entirely understand, but that we honor, love, and see as our fellow Americans.
Representative Ocasio-Cortez, Senator Sanders, we have a lot more questions for both of you coming up. We're going to take a short break and be right back with our CNN Town Hall.
And now I rant, because I just can't let AOC sit here and get away with spewing all this bullshit. First off, The Caitlin Collins town hall with Bernie Sanders and AOC is more of a joke than anything else, but it's also a masterclass in deflection. The question was straightforward. Democratic leaders' messages aren't landing online, but why? And instead of owning that their top-down approach feels stale and disconnected, AOC pivots to a laundry list of Republican boogeyman tropes. It's not about solutions. It's about stoking division to rally the base, a dwindling base. And yeah, it's brainwashing adjacent, painting half the country as villains while ignoring why their own videos flop. Sad to watch, especially when families are hurting from the Democrat pain-inflicted government shutdown. Democrats barely scraping together 5-figure views or less on their live streams while AOC and Bernie rack up millions of views. Look, take it from someone who does this on a daily basis. YouTube is my job. That's not resonance. It's proof paid promotions work if you've got the cash. Check the numbers. Their joint video explaining the shutdown fight hit over 2 million views across platforms in days. Meanwhile, Hakeem Jeffries' 11-hour marathon live stream peaked at a whopping 1,000 viewers on YouTube, dipping to dozens at times. Total embarrassment, with clips barely scraping tens of thousands of views. Do Democrat leaders need to up their game in how they're reaching people? Well, Democrats struggle to get 5-figure view counts and should be all you need to know about how their message does not resonate or connect with American voters. The idea that Bernie Sanders and AOC can garner more is just proof that paying to boost and promote your videos online works well if you have the budget behind it. Grassroots, earned media is something the left has no idea how to accomplish. We do. Grassroots, earned media? Nah. The left bets on algorithms and ad dollars. Republicans, on the other hand, we're winning online because we're speaking plain English about freedom, security, and pulling ourselves up, not giving away handouts. But perhaps the answer Caitlin was looking for, and I think I was able to pull it out of the nonsense and decipher the code of AOC's word salad. But simply put, social media is taking on a new form, and maybe a better way to describe it would be to refer to it as socialist media now, because it seems that's the only attention these two are able to capture is from the collective society that wants something, or better yet, everything for nothing. Consistently holding their hand out and mouths open to be fed by the government. And we all know the problem with that, right? Yeah. So call it socialist media. Meanwhile, we're just connecting with real Americans, tired of the falsehood of believing the pie in the sky, rent-free or free rent grocery stores, public transportation, healthcare guilt trip. Now, I'm going to dismantle AOC's rhetoric point by point, so stick with me here, folks. MAGA don't hate, but we do call out hypocrisy. We're the party of common sense, fighting for all Americans, women, real women, men, every color, every background, and even trans, so long as it doesn't try and force its deranged, mentally ill mind onto our youth and stays in their place and in their bathrooms. But her smears, yeah, they're nothing more than baseless, divisive, and straight out of the left's fear-mongering playbook. A playbook that has been proven doesn't work, but they keep on. Number one, so AOC says Republicans think women are inferior and don't deserve equal rights. Yeah, that's total fiction. Look at President Trump's cabinet. 1/3 women, 8 out of 24 spots, including historic firsts like Susie Wiles as White House Chief of Staff. First woman ever. Pam Bondi as Attorney General, Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Director, and Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence. That's more women in key roles than any Republican president before, shattering glass ceilings while delivering results. Oh, and Riley Gaines. Yeah, I've got more I want to share with you from Riley Gaines. So stick with me here, folks, because she's coming up later on in the video. She is our champion for women's sports, former NCAA swimmer, fighting tooth and nail against biological males in women's competitions. She's headlining Republican events, pushing bills like the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, passed the House with every GOP vote, and calling out Dems for sidelining female athletes. You want to talk about equal rights, AOC? While we are out here protecting them in the pool, on the field, and in the boardroom and bathrooms, AOC's crew, the Socialist Democrats, they are redefining words, terms, definitions such as woman so loosely even their own leaders. Yeah, I'm looking at you, progressives, struggle to define it day in and day out. Pot, meet kettle. Number two, AOC says Republicans consider LGBTQ Americans subhuman. First off, what the does that even mean? It's vague red meat for the crowd, but zero substance. It's packed full of MSG. Republicans fight for individual liberty. Live your life. Love who you want. Just don't force it on kids or erase biology in sports or prisons. But the real irony here is how AOC's Democratic Socialists of America, her squad's home base, champions gender transition for minors, including adolescents, and even pushing psychological interventions on kids, all while claiming to protect human rights. Try. I dare you to make that make sense. You can't. Period. They support unrestricted access to gender transition healthcare for everyone, no age limits mentioned in their push for this Medicare for all, and all includes illegals too. We have documented proof and evidence of that. But we're the ones saying protect kids from irreversible decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, that's compassion, not cruelty. This subhuman shtick, nah. I don't know anything about that. But that's just the less habit of labeling parents bigots for questioning drag queen story hour. And the short answer is that should never be a thing in schools, and I will make no exceptions to that. Number three, AOC says Republicans circulate disgusting racial and white supremacist messaging. Now, that's an easy one to debunk. And all we have to do is flip the script. Democrats sling slurs like it's confetti or rice at a wedding. Nazi this, fascist that, and anyone who disagrees. Oh, yeah. And the standard go-to. Everyone who isn't voting for them is racist. Biden called half the country semi-fascists. Hillary dubbed Trump supporters a basket of deplorables laced with racial dog whistles. Even Senate Dems hurl Nazi over and over and over again at border agents just simply doing their jobs. And don't even get me started on actual slurs. Democrat candidates caught dropping N-bombs like the Kansas Hopefuls 2020 rant. But wait, there's more. However, YouTube's policies and guidelines limit how far I can go to call out the hypocrisy of the left and AOC. But here's the truth, folks. We're building unity. Trump's rallies packed with every race, united on jobs and borders. Meanwhile, AOC, she's the one sowing racial wedges, pitting browner against whiter like it's policy when it ain't. It's just more distraction and deflection. AOC says Republicans radicalize young boys into insecure masculinity, dominating the poor, browner, darker, and different gender. Oh man, this is peak projection and another racism accelerator from the left. Not once does AOC say what Democrats will do for America. No jobs plan, no border fix, just pure hate the other side rhetoric. Republicans resonate online because we're empowering young men with real talk. Work hard, lead with strength, protect your family, not dominate anyone. Healthy masculinity, AOC? That's dads coaching Little League, vets serving communities, entrepreneurs building businesses. But AOC's own toxic masculinity has blinded her from reality and somehow has given her this false identity that makes her think she's the queen. Remember her Instagram roast of Stephen Miller? I didn't forget. AOC called him a clown who looks like he's 4'10", pure ad hominem on his height to dismantle insecure men by mocking them. That's not debate. That's bullying a guy over inches because his ideas scare her.
Like he is angry about the fact that he's 4'10", and he looks like he is so mad that he is 4'10", that he's taking that anger out at any other population possible. Like, laugh at them. Laugh at them.
Well, we knew that her brain didn't work. Now we know their eyes don't work. So I mean, she is a mess, right? What a train wreck. What a train wreck. I think the important point is that every time she's on TV, Republican approval ratings go up, Democrat approval ratings go down. That lady is a walking nightmare.
You're about, I know you for 20 years. You're about 5'10", 11. About 5'10", yes. So 4'10", yes. I don't know what she can't say. All right, Stephen, thank you very much.
Personal vendetta much? We're about policy for all Americans, richer opportunities for the poor, security for every color. But her message and the message of the Democrats is they hate you, give us power. Nothing more than just baseless nonsense. AOC tells scary bedtime stories about the billionaire boogeyman Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg as highway robbers fleecing us via tax cuts. Come on, give me a break. But you know what? Maybe she is half right, because she did say the Democrats keep fighting amongst themselves. And so on the topic of infighting, Dems eating their own, she has a point. But dead wrong on the list of innovators she's rambled off. As per the usual, she is sadly mistaken. Yeah, and you know what? She even botched Peter Thiel's name, called him Peter Thiel. Very, very classy girl there. Get it right, AOC. But let's talk substance and contributions like rational adults here. Elon Musk has pledged billions via the Giving Pledge. He funds space exploration. Might I add, NASA contracts creating tons of jobs and donates to education and tech that lifts everyone. Peter Thiel's fellowship, his Thiel Fellowship, empowers young entrepreneurs, having an impact, and he's red-pilled Elon Musk and Zuck themselves with early funding, plus massive anti-aging research for longer, healthier lives. And speaking of Zuckerberg, you mean the Facebook founder who openly admitted the Biden administration squeezed Meta to censor COVID content, including true info and satire? That Zuckerberg? Funny how AOC skips that Joe Rogan podcast bombshell where Zuck spilled all the tea on how the White House was screaming and cursing for takedowns. You want to talk about tax cuts? They unleashed growth, creating jobs and wages far more than fleecing, young lady. These guys give back exponentially. And speaking of giving back, let's talk about the elephant in the room, AOC's net worth. And what I want to know is how AOC has managed to increase her wealth from a once broke, poor bartender hoping to get by on tips to now having amassed a multi-million-dollar fortune, I hear, while receiving an extremely modest government salary, allegedly. And look, I'm not even mad about it, but I do want to know when she plans to spread the wealth to the very same people she claims to align with, the browner, blacker, and or just the women whose wages are low and healthcare costs are high. When will she give them a break or a chunk of her cash? And so here's the answer Caitlin was looking for. Alexandria. Republicans are resonating online because we're appealing to the best parts of human nature: ambition, family, fairness, unity over division, solutions over smears. We're the party building America for everyone: stronger borders, booming economy, real rights, and trying to avoid, but now end, the government shutdown. Trump's team is fighting smart for fiscal sanity, not endless spending, while Dems want everything for nothing. And we'll take earned success any day. Republicans, this is why we win, because we keep sharing the truth. Earned media starts with us, and it's up to us to make America great again. Unlike the Democrats whose sole objective is to just try and beat Trump.
My American dream has turned into a nightmare. My family was only days away from closing on a USDA loan for our dream home. Then came news of the shutdown, and now we face uncertainty. Our lease is up, and now we have to move. The shutdown is costing us our chance to live our dream. What are you doing to end this stalemate and help restore faith in our elected officials, the people I helped to choose to guard my American dream?
We're going to do everything that we can to bring an end to this terrible shutdown, which is hurting you and which is hurting 1 million federal employees and millions of people who use federal services. But also, we have got to be cognizant that if Trump wins this fight, our healthcare system could well collapse.
For which we know isn't even at all close to being true.
Obamacare was always designed to create single-payer health care. That's what Jan Schakowsky said when she was caught on a hot mic in the town hall 15 years ago.
And those of us who are pushing for a public health insurance option don't disagree with the goal. This is not a principled fight. This is a fight about strategy for getting there, and I believe we will.
That's what conservatives were telling the American people 15 years ago about why we did not support Obamacare.
They're insistent on a single-payer government takeover. The president has said it, Charlie Rangel, Barney Frank, all the Democrat leaders seem to be on record.
The entire time it was going to be government-run health care. That's what they wanted. And so now you have a situation where the Democrats are holding the government hostage because they want us to continue to subsidize their terrible health care policy, which has not worked. It's not affordable. Premiums have doubled since it's been created. Deductibles have more than doubled since it's been created. People are not getting the health care that they need. And furthermore, the way they did this, they wanted young people to go into these pools, but the young people are like, I'm not paying these outrageous premiums just to say I have a health care policy. They'd rather just go to urgent care or find some other means to take care of their health care they think is right, the best way they can. This program has never worked. It's always been more expensive. The Democrats just want more subsidies, and now they're holding the government hostage because of it.
And I promise you, we will dive much deeper into this topic on a future video. But for now, I want to wrap up this one and quickly explain my opening statement and thesis, which is how the Democrats just lost their only hope, but also why the Democrats' brightest star just up and left. Walked away from the party of division, pain, woke ideology, anti-America agenda, and has solidified the future of America for at least the next 8 years or more. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you MAGA's rising star and the Democrats' worst nightmare, a Mr. John Fetterman, senator of the great state of Pennsylvania, and he brings based opinion, thoughts, facts, and most importantly, the truth.
That's why shutting the government is really what the Democratic Party wants to do. And I follow country, then party. And it's the wrong thing for the country in a period of chaos. I refuse to vote to shut our government down. I absolutely would love to have I would love to have a conversation about extending the tax credits for health care. Absolutely. But I would remind everybody, too, this was designed by the Democratic Party to expire at the end of the year. This is not something taken by the Republicans. They were designed to expire. Now let's have a conversation to extend it and not shut our government down.
And you heard that right, folks. The Democrats set this whole thing up, and it was all supposed to expire at the end of the year. Republicans are not taking anything away. But remember, it is country first, then party. The Democrats' party is failing. A bunch of losers. And this next question and answer is so brutally honest. And it's a massive bombshell dropped on the left, and by none other than one of their own, at least for now. Here, watch.
How do Democrats win back white men like yourself?
I don't know. And truthfully, I'm not sure if that's possible, to be honest. I think that's been seriously eroding for a while. And in some cases, in the conversations I've had, a lot of people, they don't even want to say it publicly, but they just feel like, the other side seems like it's like men, that men's the problem. Men are to blame. Or their masculinity is toxic, or unless you're able to conform to our very strict kinds of definition of what we think's appropriate, well then, hey, I'm going to find an alternative, and they've done that. That's absolutely true. And once we've kind of turned their back on that demographic, it's going to be difficult to rebuild and replace that with those voters, because I think that migration has been ongoing phenomenon for several years, and that was been in front and center, in part of the election in 24.
Boom. There you have it, folks. Yet another gut punch from Senator John Fetterman delivered directly to the Dems that's got the left reeling, scrambling. If you thought the Democrats were just fumbling the ball on policy, well, I assure you that's not the case. But it is so much sweeter to hear it from this insider spilling the beans on why they've lost touch with a massive chunk of America. Fetterman, one of their own, a hoodie-wearing, tattooed senator who clawed his way back from a massive stroke to recover, is dropping truth bombs that expose the rot in the Democratic machine. And dare I say, he has left the Democrat Party, in a sense, in pure panic. He's not mincing words either. The party's been on this self-destructive path for years, hammering guys with lectures about toxic masculinity and acting like every red-blooded American dude is the problem. Remember when they tried to sell Tim Walz and Doug Emhoff off as the new face of manhood? That was so gay. And Michael Strahan should be ashamed of himself. But yeah, that all crash landed like a lead balloon. White men aren't buying the guilt trip anymore, I don't think. And they're walking away from the left and directly towards the right, and at least the center maybe. And Fetterman's admitting it might be too late to reel them back in. But this isn't just some fringe gripe. It's backed by cold, hard numbers from the 2024 election. Trump didn't just squeak by. He crushed it with white male voters, pulling 62% of them, according to Pew Research Center's post-election analysis. That's a full 5-point jump from 2020, when Biden clawed back some ground, but still got smoked in that demo. It's not a fluke or a Trump fever dream either. It's a steady bleed out. And from what I can tell, these guys feel alienated, lectured, and dismissed. Like the party sees them as relics to be re-educated rather than the backbone of the working class. I mean, just think about how many unions backed and endorsed Trump. Fetterman nails it. And he says Democrats make it out to be that men are the blame or their masculinity is toxic, unless you're able to conform to our very strict kinds of definition of what they think is appropriate. And it's no wonder they're tuning out, turning their backs on them, and not voting blue, no matter who. This erosion's been building since the mid-2010s, fueled by that endless drip of cultural scolding, and 2024 was the dam breaking. This clip exploded online the second it was dropped. We're talking tens of thousands of views in hours. Reposts lighting up X like fireworks, and replies pouring in from all sides. Conservatives are cheering like it's game 7 and we're up with only seconds left on the clock. Finally, a Dem gets it. While even some independents are nodding along, shocked that a sitting senator would air this dirty laundry. But do you want to know what the real kicker is? John Fetterman's not just critiquing, he's resonating. The comment section is buzzing about his no BS vibe, calling him the last sane Dem out there or Trump's secret weapon in a hoodie. And yeah, the whispers are turning into shouts. But tell me what you think. Could this guy bolt and run independent in 2028? Reports are flying in that the Dems are already plotting a primary pile-on, big names like Connor Lamb and Brendan Boyle gearing up to try and kneecap him. Talk about infighting and intra-party revolt, right? Kamala Harris is out here gallivanting around trying to hawk some shitty-ass book, talking about it was the closest election in modern history. Meanwhile, what did Trump do after 2020? He didn't quit. He didn't give up. He continued on. He came back and he fucking won. Kamala just gave up. That should tell you all you need to know about the left. The Dems have straight up lost it, especially after Fetterman's Mar-a-Lago meetup with Trump and his votes for picks like Pam Bondi. He's the odd man out, and they're circling the wagons. Mr. Star-Spangled MAGA asked, since the Democrats are trying to get rid of John Fetterman, would you accept him with open arms if he wanted to join us? Well, what say you? Let me know in the comments. But here's the silver lining for real America. Fetterman's awakening is a sign the emperor has no clothes. The left's woke bubble is bursting and voters are done with the lectures. Country first, always. Party loyalty be damned. If Democrats don't course correct, they're handing 2026 and 2028 directly to us on a silver platter. What do you think? Fetterman, Indy run? Drop your take in the comments. Smash that like button if this fires you up. Subscribe for more news breakdowns and stay safe and God bless you all. Oh, and just tell me one thing before you go. How does a party expect to bring in enough votes to defeat a movement and a mandate when they can't even keep their own members on their side? I think John Fetterman is just the beginning, and we will see more common sense coming out of the left as they exit stage right and head towards the letter I before their name, or maybe even an R. Because here's the deal, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Democrats aren't just inconsistent. They're their own worst enemies. Every time they open their mouth to preach, their actions betray them. It's not just hypocrisy, it's a masterclass in self-sabotage. They're out here aiming for the moral high ground, but they keep shooting themselves in the foot with policies and behavior that contradict everything they claim to stand for. And then, when the dust settles, they open their mouth and shove that foot right in. So, stick with me here, folks, for just 2 quick clips that I want you to see that I think are a must, and perhaps maybe even the final nail in the coffin, the Dems' coffin, and or at least the cherry on top for us. The latest breaking reports show that odds of Democrats winning the House have plummeted 20%. They are on life support, and their chart clearly says do not resuscitate.
Well, we were looking at the Democrats with a very clear shot of taking control of the U.S. House of Representatives, according to the Kalshi prediction market odds. We saw him in an 83% chance. But those odds have gone plummeting down. Now we're talking about just a 63% chance, while the GOP's chances up like a rocket, up like gold, up from 17% to now a 37% chance.
And I've really enjoyed exposing how the left's grand promises crumble under scrutiny again. And I really hope that you all enjoy watching these videos too. Riley Gaines said, so long as they continue to endorse violence, mutilate children, celebrate crime, not know what a woman is, and put Americans last, the Democratic Party will continue to fall. And so what I have to say in response to all that is they need not worry about the House. They've already lost that. The Senate, fat chance. Oh, and as far as the presidency goes, well, a snowball has a better chance in hell. Roll the clip. And thank you all for watching. See you on the next one. Stay safe and God bless.
Last tweet. Let's go with this right here, okay? Let's see what this is. At Nate City 11. Who has the best chance to defeat Vance and Rubio on the Democratic side in 2008? The answer would be no one. Not a damn soul. But I like Ossoff. I believe that's the correct pronunciation of his name. Also for Ossoff out of Georgia. I think that I like him. I like how he sounds. I do. But I got to be honest with you. If this Israel-Hamas deal comes out to be more positive than anything else, I don't think anybody's going to be able to compete with Marco Rubio, who Trump called maybe the greatest Secretary of State in American history. Marco Rubio gets things done. He's a former senator. He's now Secretary of State and National Security Advisor. He is no joke. I'd put him above Vice President Vance. I can tell you that much. Stephen A. signing off. Straight Shooter with Stephen A. Until next time. Peace and love, everybody.